What's poppin'? What's poppin'? All right, so messing with the Doty, messing with that Zod, that flight. All right. The discussion of the day, class, is when should you decide to stop smoking weed, ganja, marijuana? Are there times where you can decide to keep using it? Don't get all into all of that in this video. So if y'all new to the channel, y'all tapped in with the Head of the Game podcast. Y'all read the title, let's get right into it. So it had me thinking, right, that how does someone start smoking? Obviously, you know, somebody that knows somebody, or just the person that you know might introduce you to it. And for the most part, people enjoy getting high at being a young person, right? But as time goes along and life gets more serious, as you tackle on more responsibilities, whether that be kids, you start owning more stuff, you start to have more things you're in charge of, then it starts to go through that thought process to where you start reevaluating where does weed place in your life, right? So if you're doing it recreationally, right, whether you're making music or you're being artistic or you're being creative, I think I'll say creative, or you just using anything that requires your imagination, right? Weed can definitely be a force multiplier. Even if you're not being creative and you're watching somebody else's art, you know, that it's music or watching a movie, it definitely gives you the amplification to enjoy whatever art or, you know, just whatever art you're looking at, right? So as time goes on, you meet at the crossroads where you gotta pick between your imagination and your reality. And in order to be able to choose your reality, there's some things that you can't take with you into this transition when your hand is forced to pick one over the other, right? So then you got to reevaluate your vices, or they may not be vices, or however you decide to look at it, you know, coping mechanisms, so on and so forth. Is it getting in the way, or is it prohibiting you from connecting with people, better job opportunities, you know, because there's drug tests, so on and so forth? And how long would you decide to put it down? Or is this a long-term life decision you're going to have to make with yourself, right? Me personally, I've been smoking for a little bit, consistently, probably like 14 years, right? Until I got into this truck driving thing. Now I got to put it down. And at first, I thought it was going to be just for a meantime until I worked the system. But eventually, once I actually got on the other side, I started to realize that the juice ain't worth the squeeze anymore. I feel like getting onto the other side of this reality definitely makes me look at weed from a different perspective. Now, if you're one of them people that's content with your situation and you don't see yourself really going that far, then maybe you don't have to give up weed. But just take this into an account. If you ever decide to have kids, if you ever decide to buy a house, if you ever decide to have a retirement, not to say that this may be the 100% deciding factor, but it could be a variable in that equation to prohibit you from getting there, right? So if you're just a non-disciplined person altogether, then you have a bigger problem. You have a discipline problem. Because there are people that know how to function even under the influence, right? Just depends on your drive level. So if you're a pothead and you ain't got no drive and you lazy and you forgetful, yeah, you're only exacerbating the problem even worse. So especially if you have aspirations for becoming something big. But if you sit up there and like, this is as good as it's gonna get, so I might as well If you made that concession in your life, not to say that I would advise that, because, you know, who wouldn't want the access to the finer things? But if you don't have those aspirations, then there's really no incentive for you to put down the blunt. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's no incentive. There's no really real reason on why you should just sit up there and just be like, you know what? I'm gonna get this up. It's bad for me. But like I said before, if you're a person that's striving to have responsibilities and have a legacy and add substantial value, weed might have to be something you might have to give up. Now there's other vices, other drugs, but we just talking about weed and my experience with it. I had to give it up. I thought it was gonna be a short-term decision. Now I'm considering it on a long-term decision, depending on what options out there are available for me. But that's all I got for y'all, man. So thoughts, comments, leave those below. Like the video, more supposedly subscribe to the channel. Your boy going up. More videos on the way. Thanks for watching. I'm gone.